All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're digging into one of the most surprising and honestly, one of the coolest innovations in green energy. And the solution might just be, well, dirt cheap.
I mean, seriously, think about it. You always hear that the answers to our energy problems have to be these super high-tech, incredibly expensive pieces of kit. But what if the key to a stable green future is something you can literally find on any beach? Let's dive into a technology that does just that. Okay, so here's the big problem we're all facing. We've gotten really good at making clean energy from the sun and the wind. The catch? We're still kind of terrible at storing it for later. It's what experts call the intermittency problem.
It's simple, right? The sun goes down, the wind dies, and suddenly all that power generating capacity is useless, right when we might need it most. That often means firing up fossil fuel plants to fill the gap. So the real holy grail for the green transition is finding a massive, reliable, and affordable battery to save all that clean power for a rainy or, a windless, sunless day.
So what do? Well, instead of trying to build an even more complex chemical battery, a group of brilliant engineers in Finland looked at one of the most common materials on the planet and asked a really simple question. What if we just heated it up? And that brings us to the very unlikely hero of our story, the sand battery. The big idea here is something called thermal energy storage, or TES for short. Now, unlike the lithium-ion battery in your phone, which stores energy chemically, a sand battery stores it as pure, simple heat. It's a beautifully low-tech answer to a very high-tech problem. And get this, the way it works is just so elegant. First, you take all that extra solar or wind power and run it through what are basically giant toaster coils. Seriously, these heaters warm up air, which then gets piped into a massive insulated silo packed with sand, heating that sand up to a scorching 600 degrees Celsius. That heat just stays trapped in there for months. Whenever you need the energy, you just release it as hot air or use it to heat water. Simple. So, why sand, of all things, right? Well, it turns out it's almost the perfect stuff for the job. It holds a ton of heat. It doesn't melt till it gets incredibly hot. It's, as we mentioned, dirt cheap and everywhere. And maybe the best part, it's completely safe. I mean, if it leaks, you just get a pile of warm sand. No explosions, no toxic chemicals. Now, this isn't just some crazy idea on a whiteboard. No, it's already working out in the real world. Up in Finland, a company called Polar Night Energy is proving this whole concept works at scale. They're basically bottling up summer sunshine to get people through those long, dark Finnish winters. Yep, in the small town of Kankaanpää, the world's very first commercial sand battery is up and running. It's this 7-meter-tall steel silo filled with 100 tons of sand, and it's plugged right into the town's heating system, keeping homes and local businesses warm. Okay, but when we talk about storing energy, there's one number that matters more than pretty much anything else. Efficiency. How much energy do you get back for what you put in? For this system, the number is, well, it's pretty mind-blowing.
That's right, 99%. This is the sand battery's absolute superpower. When you use that stored energy directly as heat, say for a town's heating network, almost nothing is lost. You're taking cheap, clean electricity and turning it into valuable heat with near-perfect efficiency. That's incredible.
So, this gets us to the really crucial question. How does our simple, low-tech hero stack up against the reigning champ, the lithium-ion battery? It really is the ultimate underdog story.
And the comparison is pretty stark. A lithium-ion battery is great for a few hours of power. A sand battery can store that energy for months. Its lifespan is easily double, the cost per kilowatt-hour is just a tiny fraction, and it's totally inert, which means zero fire risk. They're just built for different jobs. Lithium is for your phone, sand is for your city.
And there's another huge win here that doesn't even show up on a spec sheet. Sand batteries completely sidestep all the complicated and often controversial supply chains and environmental issues that come with mining things like lithium and cobalt. You just use local sand. That shrinks the carbon footprint and makes you less dependent on a handful of countries for materials.
Okay, but let's be real. No technology is a silver bullet. And to get the whole picture, we have to talk about the limitations, because every hero has a weakness, and the sand battery is no exception.
The biggest trade-off is what's called energy density. Basically, you need a lot of sand and a lot of space to store a meaningful amount of energy. This is why you are never ever going to have a sand battery in your car or your laptop. It is purely an infrastructure-scale solution built for towns, factories, and industrial parks.
And remember that incredible 99% efficiency? Well, there's a catch. It's really tied to location. It works best where you already have a district heating network or some big industrial plant that needs tons of high-temperature heat. If you don't have that, you'd have to convert the heat back to electricity, and the efficiency takes a major hit.
But even with those limitations, the potential here is just enormous. This whole technology is such a powerful reminder that sometimes the most sophisticated answers are hiding in the simplest places. I mean, think about it. Heating our buildings and powering heavy industry, those are two of the biggest sources of carbon emissions on the planet, and they are notoriously hard to clean up. Sand batteries give us a direct, affordable way to do just that, using nothing but clean electricity and, well, sand.
There's this quote that just nails it perfectly. This isn't just about storing energy, it's about fundamentally changing our relationship with energy. It's about building a grid that finally works with nature's rhythms, not against them.
So when you look at these giant silos of hot sand, it leaves you with a really fascinating question. In our constant race for more and more complex technology, have we maybe overlooked the incredible power of simple, elegant ideas? Could this kind of thinking be what truly changes the world? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.